Hello, welcome to PCMag Live. I'm Dan Costa, he is Max Eddy, and we've got a great show for you today. We've got a ton of news breaking today, which we have to share with you.
Breaking as we speak.
Breaking as we speak. We've got one cool thing from the lab, which you can see behind me right now, and we're going to answer some of your reader questions. Let's get to the news, the biggest news of the day, which is Amazon, as expected, released a set-top box called the Fire TV. They literally just announced this now, so we're still parsing some of the details and figuring out what this means. But it's a $99 box that will stream video content, it will play games. It seems like it's designed to go straight up against the Apple TV, maybe the Chromecast too, but it's a pretty intriguing device. It's kind of overdue from a company like Amazon.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you were on Twitter today, everything is just Kindle Fire TV, or Amazon Fire TV. That's one branding problem I'm going to have with this new product. Yeah. But what I'm interested in is it's got some really great specs. It's got 2 gigabytes of RAM, a quad-core chip with a dedicated GPU, and it does voice search as well. I'm seeing a lot of different stuff from a lot of different products that are already out there, like the Xbox One and the Roku box. So it's an exciting product, but I'm still not certain how it's going to play out, because there's still no device where you can get all of Google, all of Amazon, and Apple on the same box. You're still being asked to buy a dedicated device.
But this does a lot. So you'll get access to all of the Amazon video libraries. All those Prime subscribers are going to be interested in that. You're going to get Hulu, you're going to get Netflix, Showtime, NBA coverage. It sounds like they're going to be adding new channels all the time, but they probably will never get access to the iTunes video.
Almost certainly not. I think the gaming aspect is really interesting here too. For I think it's like $35 or $39, you'll be able to buy a gamepad and play games on there.
Which looks just like the Sony PlayStation controller.
Quite a bit like it.
It looks just I mean, I haven't held it yet, but it looks a lot like it.
And as you were saying earlier, it's a bad day to be Ouya. Well, every day is a bad day to be Ouya, but today especially, because now there's going to be an Android gaming device, a set-top gaming device that is out there, and it's going to be cheap and popular and supported. But personally, I'm not convinced that gaming really has a place on these set-top streaming boxes. I think people think in stovepipes. They're going to want a gaming device for their gaming. They're going to want a streaming device for their streaming. I know that Xbox is trying to change that, but I don't think it's going to happen this generation.
Well, it'll still be casual gaming, although the specs are much more powerful than the other set-top boxes that are out there,
Definitely.
much more powerful than the Apple TV. It's still going to be Android games. They're basically games that run on your phone will also run on this box. They're not that compelling.
I could play Angry Birds on my Roku 5 years ago, and it was crappy then, so...
You can get more on this story. We are getting the unit. We're bringing it back to the lab right now. We will be testing it. We'll be posting hands-ons. We will tell you exactly how it works within the next 24 hours. Also happening at the exact same time on the opposite coast, Microsoft is holding its Build conference, at which it is releasing Windows 8.1 update.
Not 8.2.
Not 8.2. They've already done 8.1. They could have gone to 8.2, but no, they're going to call it Windows 8.1 update. And it seems like a lot of these features that they're adding in this update are really just to remove the annoyances that Windows 8 created for regular laptop and desktop users.
Yeah.
They're going to be adding, they're going to be, first of all, they're going to let you boot directly to your desktop, which was the #1 problem everybody had when they don't use a touch-based interface. They're going to add the power button so you can actually power down the system, which was kind of logical and shouldn't have been overlooked.
The technology of 1995 is finally coming back to Windows 8.1.
So, but I mean, it's much needed. I mean, I think it's going to be appreciated by traditional desktop users, but there's some new features that they're coming out with as well.
Well, the other big announcement was Windows 8.1 update for Windows Phone. So that's a really big deal. They're bringing a lot of new features to Windows Phone. The biggest one is Cortana, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong because I've never played Halo. However, it's a Siri-like Bing-powered personal digital assistant that lets you use your voice or type to answer all sorts of questions. If I was reading some of the live blogs, and looked a little bit buggy buggier than
they
Siri.
all are at this point. All the voice assistants, none of them are perfect.
None of them are perfect, but I will say that when I talk to Siri on my iPhone or when I use Google Now, I'm always been impressed by how well those work. I'm a little bit curious to see how this actually plays out. But what was, that's all well and good for Microsoft, but a lot of the features that they rolled out for Windows Phone, including their voice digital assistant, were stuff that you could already get on Android and iOS. Even some of the basic updates that were announced today seem kind of old. I haven't seen Windows Phone really keep pushing. I really hope we will see that soon.
Yeah, I think that if they can get to parity with Android and iOS, they'll be happy to have that.
I suppose.
Much more is out there. We've got a whole team covering Build. You can get those updates as they happen on PCMag.com. Finally, the last news story of the day I saw, which is kind of disappointing, a research firm called Endeavor Partners has discovered that 1/3 of all wearables are abandoned after 6 months, People go out, they buy wearables, 6 months later, they don't use them anymore. We've actually seen that same dynamic happen in PCMag Labs.
This happen.
I have lost 3 Fitbits. I bought 3 Fitbits. They're about $100 a piece. I have lost 3 Fitbits. I cannot pay for any more Fitbits. And I think a lot of people are having this problem where you either lose the tracker or somehow it just doesn't fit into your life the way you expected it to.
I think the one problem here is they might not be getting the information that they want. People want answers. They want to know, how do I get skinnier? How do I get more active? And if the device doesn't deliver that directly, it's probably not going to be doing what the people want. I think we're still very in the early stages of wearables. We're providing a lot of information to people about their lives, and what you do with that information is still a little bit unclear. I don't think we're really ready for big data in our lives.
And a lot of the wearables that have hit the market are kind of ugly.
Yeah.
And I think that matters. Like they certainly stand out, and I don't think that's what people are really looking for in a personal health tracker.
That said, this is personal health trackers we're talking about. Last week, Google made a big announcement about their vision for wearables, which is much more about notifications and working with Android. Personally, I think that's the future of wearables. Health is going to be the foot in the door, but getting a device that's going to be making it easier to connect to your smartphone, your laptop, whatever, that's going to be the direction the wearables take.
Indeed. Let's move on to a question from one of our readers. I actually got this question when I was doing a radio show called Rover Radio. Somebody called in and asked me, do I need to have security software on my Android phone? And for a while, I've been telling people, you know what, there aren't that many threats out there. You can probably get by without it. But I knew we were having you on the show. You test all of the Android security software packages that we test here in the labs. And I wanted to run it by you because I think things have finally changed and now our advice is shifting a little bit.
Yeah, I think you absolutely need some kind of Android security. Now, whether you pay for it, whether you rely on what's in your Android phone to begin with, that's up to you. But there's a lot of tools out there that you need to be familiar with. The big thing, of course, is loss and theft, not malware. There's a lot of malware out there, but it's usually around third-party stores. You don't really see it so much in Google Play, but it is still a threat. So we should all be thinking about that more and more as it becomes more popular and as Android becomes bigger and bigger. But theft is the big one. Google provides the Android Device Manager, which is a great service similar to Apple's Find My iPhone. But there are so many other tools available, like in Bitdefender Mobile, which is our editor's choice for paid Android security software. They allow you to control your phone with SMS messages. So when you can't get to a computer or you haven't learned how to use the Android Device Manager, the critical tools to find and secure your phone even when you don't have it with you. And there's a whole bunch of other problems, a whole bunch of other threats, I should say, like plain old malicious websites and phishing sites and SMS messages which can be used to trick you into buying things or sign you up for things you just really don't want. The fact that your phone can send messages is something a lot of attackers are targeting. That's how they make their money. And we're seeing that become a bigger and bigger part of Android security software. And you don't have to pay for it either. Vast has a great product and it's free. Bitdefender's product is $9.95 a year, which is a very reasonable price, especially compared to the competition.
It's really, that's the thing that impresses me is that security software on the desktop, the prices have gotten kind of out of control. Very membership-oriented, annual fees, but $10 a year to protect your phone and make sure you can turn it off if you lose it, that's a good price to pay.
And we're reaching a point where the technology is becoming very robust, but we're also seeing some big changes in how malware works on there. And again, mobile is a totally different platform than desktop. Everything is changing, everything is up in the air, but there are good tools available right now.
Very cool. Let's move on to one cool thing, my favorite part of the show. We test thousands of products here in our lab in New York City. Every day we take one thing off the shelf and show it to you live. Today, that one cool thing is right behind me. It is the Dell UltraSharp 32 Ultra HD. The model number, in case you care, is the UP3214Q, and it is a $3,500 Ultra HD display. It is probably one of the best monitors we've ever tested here in the labs. And do not judge it by this picture because YouTube is not showing you 4K, and this image is also not showing you 4K. But it is an amazing monitor.
It is absolutely, like just playing around with it and getting it set up, I was impressed by what I could see, even though it is not, strictly speaking, 4K. But it's kind of tricky to make that all work because you're going to need a computer that can do multi-stream transport so that you can get that 4K image. But once it's there, it's incredible. Our reviewer said that this was an image that is nothing short of stellar.
Yeah, this is obviously you're going to need a graphics card that can actually power that display. So you're just not going to be able to connect it to any old laptop, which is what we just did, and expect to see the beauty of that display. But if you're going to spend $3,500 for a monitor, and you can get it for a little bit less, if you shop around, you're going to pay for the graphics card and the processing power to actually show that video.
Talking to our analysts here in the labs, everyone agrees that 4K is absolutely the future of graphics, and this is what we're all going to be looking at soon. So if you want to get the best of the best, this is what you're going to get.
Indeed, you can read the full review on PCMag.com, and that's been PCMag Live. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new show. Remember, you can send us your questions on Facebook, on Twitter. Evidently, you can call into Rover Radio and ask us a question there. We will answer it live on the show. We'll see you tomorrow.
So long.